okay, why we are doing this. It was your idea, apparently.
Well, yes. Well, 2 years ago, I think it was with Terry, but and it's continued since. So 2 years ago.
Terry's a friend of ours.
Terry's a friend of
She used to be my neighbor. It was the best. It was the best of times. She lived across the street.
She's amazing.
She is.
She's one of those mentor, friend, mother, sister relationships.
Yes.
And she's one of those women you want to be her best friend, and then it turns out she wants to be your best friend.
Oh, yay, we are.
But every time the three of us hang out, or at that time, she'd always talk about she'd look at us like, oh, the two of you when you're together is just pure magic. And I've had a lot of people say things like, I wish I could be a fly on the wall when you and your sister are together. And I'm like, well, it's because we've both done a lot of work.
Yeah.
And really phoenixed together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our own way.
In our own way.
Yeah.
But I think our phoenix together moment was after your divorce.
Sure.
You know, like really getting to see each other as sisters.
Yeah.
So that, and then the storytelling aspect for using your powers for good. Mm-hmm. You know, like really using what we've learned to, I think a lot of people don't think before they speak.
Right.
So, and for me, it's a lot about taking a beat and a moment to think before you speak. Mm-hmm. And I think now more than ever, that's really important. Sure. And then when Jerry died, it was like, now's the time. Because I just felt like, what the fuck was I doing with my life before this moment? I know I was doing a lot of things.
Right.
And I have a full, lovely life that I love. But I'm like, it could have been very different for him.
Sure.
And I think this story is very necessary now.
Yeah. And it fills in gaps for our family and our kids and nieces and nephews and all the things, and then also meets a need for us to share. Mm-hmm. I mean, a special gift that I believe we have. I certainly, over the years, as I've listened to people talk, a lot of people are going home for the holidays and they don't want to be with their family. They don't like this person, they can't stand this person, it's uncomfortable, it's all the things. And if enough people don't have tools in your little community, it's hard to navigate, right? Or you don't have enough strength in what you're doing or enough boundaries in place, it can be crippling to be around people.
And now I know I am doing a nutrition certification course, plant-based nutrition certification course, and knowing the mind-body connection that I have found over the years in my own healing, and seeing all these people become so sick. Mm-hmm. And more people being so sick. And now we know it's because of the food, it's because of their lifestyles, it's because of our thoughts. And I feel like our whole lives have been that journey.
Right.
So we have so much to say and share about it, and lots of firsthand experience.
Mm-hmm. And possibly some things that we would share that would allow it to happen with more ease.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not to say, I mean, some of what many of us learn in our own work is that the more comfortable we can be being uncomfortable, that's a skill, right? And so I'm not saying like, oh, as soon as you start working on yourself, it's going to get easier because everyone's going to fall in line and do the things. No, it's just I think some of the things like took a long time for me to be aware of. And then one day it was like, oh, the thing, right? And so one is, if I can just get really comfortable. I think it was a panic attack. I had one and only panic attack. I was just divorcing like days, and I realized like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the one moving out of the house. I'm going to be the one that has to go start over. And I went for a drive and literally was like suffocating in the car. I'm like, oh, I just want to feel better. I just want this to stop. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, or maybe you just figure out how to get comfortable here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that occurred to me because it was a really long, and it's, I'm still grieving that and learning. It was a really long road to wherever it was I was going, right? Mm-hmm. But that would be something like if people talked about that more.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of like, go numb and do the things so you don't have to feel, actually sit in the feeling and have someone show you how to do that or sit there with you, right? Right.
Or don't enter a room you don't want to be in.
Right. Or don't even go to the thing in the first place. Right.
Right.
Ah, right.
And I feel like COVID took us to that other extreme where it's, I've decided I'm agoraphobic and
Yeah.
Here I am.
Sure.
Versus actually here I am, and I need you to be this way with me because this feels better. Right. I'm learning that this doesn't work, and this is what I need now.
Right. Right.
Let's shift.
Yeah.
Because here I am.
Right.
And I think what I'm learning is with our brother, there were so many layers. I think of all the layers I've been navigating and letting go of over the years, and I'm like, I think I have like a light veil left.
You're hilarious.
And then
Meg has a light veil. The rest of us have layers and layers.
And then all of a sudden, there's more and more.
For sure.
But I think of my exoskeleton was probably a 1,000-pound person.
Sure.
And now I'm in this weight in my body fully.
Sure.
And
that it felt like that much weight to you. Your exoskeleton.
Right. Well, no, it was a lot at some points. But, and I think of our brother, that he would, when some of the conversations we had was that he literally, his mind went blank when I asked him some things about our past or.
Right. He had no tools, no framework, no context.
Right.
And just flatline.
Right. So you think of how many people don't remember some parts of their history, or I'm really cold.
Well, here's some blanket.
So,
I literally have a blanket.
Using my words,
and I get to meet your needs.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm like, let's all rise together.
Yeah.
Let's use our powers for good.
For sure. And for me, that I'm gonna say, because I use my powers for good as my work tag for a while, and my thought was kind of similar, but it came from trying to be really intentional about how I showed up for people, right? Some of it was at work, but it also was like, I remember when our mom died, and one of the neighbors at the time was like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine," and I pulled back and I was like, this isn't about me being fine. Like, you don't, and that's also not for you. And I don't know what I'm saying. I'm 29. I don't have the same tools. I didn't have the tools now, right then now. And I'm like, it's not your job to fix this for me. But then the other part of it is that as I kind of found my way with people, and her included, was, hey, how about don't be a dick, because they don't know what they're doing. I didn't know what I was doing either. So having grace with myself, having grace with other people, and being willing to even say, like, hey, when you said that, I totally understand why you say that, because I've heard that from 30 people now. But it didn't feel good because I'm sad and this is new for me, right? And that's where it came to me. It was not just, being really thoughtful about what I say, right? It was really how I show up, and just as much grace as possible, because we're all learning, and we're all in a different place. Yeah.
So hopefully this is a platform to find some tools, or just a lovely, silly place to watch two sisters try to be better humans, right?
And enjoy the shit out of each other.
But really true to lead from that heart center.
Yeah.
So everyone can find joy and love.
Yeah.
Without judgment.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah, I feel like that's my superpower. I've learned to be happy.
Yeah.
Because I was born a sad person.
Yeah. You learn to be happy because you said so, not because of anything else.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would say after my divorce and all of that stuff, all that I learned about myself, I'm like, oh, all of this is my job. Oops.
Yeah.
Right. I get to a place that I love and accept myself fully, then other people,
right.
then.
And I remember when you gave me that Louise Hay book after Mom died, and I was like, fuck you. I'm fine.
The Louise Hay book is How to Heal Your Life, and it's really cool. It was maybe a bit much at 20.
It took me 19. It took me 5 years to get
I think I gave it to you 2 weeks later when you turned 20.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome for your birthday.
She's an adult. And she's a hot mess. Here, go find yourself.
But the book is great because it names like an ailment and then says the metaphysical underlying thing. So like a lot of people that have neck pain don't have enough support, or people that have low back pain have financial things. So it can be like a tool to use to go, oh, I always have this pain. What is that? Oh.
But the affirmations pissed me off.
Sure.
And I realized that all of my self-dialogue was rooted in hateful language.
Sure.
I was awful. The way I used to speak to myself fully was terrible.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I had no reference point until that. And to me, that was just an attack.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't
how
that
dare
interesting?
you? How dare you try to go up against my own thoughts?
Yeah. Fucking Louise. Wasn't me.
And now I'm like, oh, what a prophet.
Sure. But the great thing about that story.
Where's the prayer candle for
No,
her?
but the great thing, right? The great thing about that story, it's where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you're at, and it's not good or bad. It's just really getting a good understanding of what you're up to.
And it held up my AC for years before I opened the book again.
Held up your AC.
Air conditioning unit. You know, you need
Like literally,
The window
held up your
unit.
air conditioning.
That's what
Yeah,
it's
but you
about
said
your
AC. I'm like, is that an acronym for some like new wave?
Oh yes, the air conditioner. How do you say?
How you say? Oh, and then that would be another thing that we had is our mom was part Mexican.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of cultural things that we'll talk about and get to, but I say, how you say, that I don't mean that to be offensive. Can be a
Like
family
cilantro.
thing. Yeah.
A lot of things our mom said. There was a lot of internal racism. So we were, the sort of Mexican portion was erased through the years
Yeah,
intentionally.
There's a lot of, that's not cool if you don't know that.
No, but it's our story.
Yeah.
And re-navigating
But
that.
I'm kidding, right? It's not cool to be Mexican.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
It's cool to be whatever, actually.
It's
But
lovely.
that's what we grew up with.
But our mother said a lot of, cilantro. Which always makes her giggle.
Lots of things make me laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
So that's why we're here.
welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
And thank you.